speculate about seat sharing with the NTPP for the upcoming Nagaland Assembly is too quick, stated Nagaland BJP President Imna Alung during the state BJP executive meeting. Alung also maintained that the central leadership is committed to the current alliance with the 40:20 seat sharing formula with the NTPP. In relation to the adequate teaching faculties at Wangkau Government College, Mon, the Konyak Students' Union submitted a representation to the Director of Higher Education, demanding action to be taken on the regard. KSU also stated that the college has only 26 assistant professors, out of which 14 are on contractual basis, while 12 others are on regular basis. Around 163 people tested positive out of the 7,043 HIV tests conducted across the state by the Nagaland State AIDS Control Society. Notably, Mizoram had the highest estimated adult HIV prevalence, followed by Nagaland and Manipur respectively. In the recently conducted International Sports Festival, Pearl of Kyrgyzstan Belt Wrestling held at Joplan at Kyrgyzstan, two wrestlers from Nagaland Wrestling Association, Kidovile Zumu and Lumrang Hewang won bronze medals at the tournament. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah declines to be the opposition's joint presidential nominee. During the meeting of opposition leaders on June 15, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee proposed Abdullah and Gopal Krishna Gandhi's names as possible consensus candidate for the July 18 presidential pool. The enrollment of first batch of Agnipath through the recently launched Agnipath scheme will commence on June 14, with the Centre and Armed Forces are all set to begin the recruitment through the recently launched Agnipath scheme. Good evening, viewers. I'm Nltv and you're watching English Primetime News. Those were the top stories. Now let's look at the stories in detail. Nagaland BJP President and Minister for Higher Education and Tribal Affairs, Imna Alung, during the state BJP executive meeting stated that it was too quick to speculate about seat sharing with the NTPP for the upcoming Nagaland Assembly elections. Alung also maintained that the central leadership is committed to the current alliance with the 40:20 seat sharing formula with the NTPP. However, Alung said that things will be made clear at the right time. As we all know, Nagaland has 60 assembly constituencies, and after the recent merge of 21 NPF MLAs, the present ruling party NDPP has 42 legislators. With the merge of NDPP MLAs into NTPP, the seat sharing has become uncertain. Nagaland April Moina Klate 163 Manu HIV Bima positive Thuishe. Nagaland State AIDS Control Society laga bitopra 7,043 Manuke test Kurishe Arotate 163 Manu positive Hushe. Chief Minister's dashboard laga data hisab Pradesh te sobse beshi HIV Bima to Dimapur te paishe. Dimapur te 81 Durishe, Twensang te 31 paishe, Koima te 23, Pek te 10, Mukokchong te 6ta, Kifre te 5ta, Mon Woka aro Parent te 2ta paishe. Zinapodo district te একটা আরো লংলেংতে 0 আঠাকিছে। HIV Sentinel Surveillance HSS 2020 লাগার রিপোর্ট চাইছে কইলে মিজোরাম সবসে হাইয়েস্ট আছে, সেকেন্ড মণিপুর আর ইটু পিছরে নাগাল্যান্ড। The Konyak Students' Union submitted a representation to the Director Higher Education demanding action to address the inadequate teaching faculties at Wangkau Government College, Mon. KSU expressed their anguish and stated that the college has only 26 assistant professors, out of which 14 are on contractual basis, while 12 others are on regular basis. The union remarked that the inadequacy leads to rejecting hundreds of students every every year because of insufficient creation of section for new semester, which in turn puts the students' life at jeopardy. KSU further expressed their dismay at concerned authorities for not paying heed to demands made by them. Meanwhile, the union demanded immediate enhancement of two professors, each for English and economics, 3 each for education, political science and sociology, and 1 for history before the resumption of this academic session. In addition, the union lamented over the blatant misuse of power by the Department of School Education by transferring 2 teachers of government middle school, Yanu and Puktong village, without reliever, upon which the union demanded immediate revocation of transfer orders and remarked that they will not tolerate transfer of any teachers from Mon district without reliever. The Dimapur Rengma Students Union on Saturday organized its 20th General Session Cum Induction Program at Dimapur Tetso College in 5th Mile. Notably, the program was held under the theme Embracing Excellence with MLA R. King as the chief guest, while Council of RBC Zungpa Tsiminyu Youth Secretary Jonathan Mason as the team speaker. Notably, during the program, Tanyeka Sep was inducted as the vice president, while 6 others were also inducted in the council. It may also be mentioned that several student bodies like Dimapur Semi Students Union, Dimapur Ao Students Union, Dimapur Lota Students Union, Dimapur Naga Students Union took part in the program.
Do solemnly swear.
Hello, my name is Tanki Asep, and first of all, I'm really grateful to the Nltv for giving me this opportunity. Today, I've been elected as new vice president for Dimapur Rengma Student Union, and it's really a very honored to be the part of the union. And I'll be speaking in Nagamis. Mula vision do, me bhavna do new season do me bhavna do. Especially the students ki focus ko. Our student khala problems han kies no punjin na se udu man do target to achieve ko le bhavna kore se. And thank you so much for the time. Hello, my name is Tank.
Just a week after Sanpur village of Kifred district under Longmatra block have been declared as heritage village, the news of salt springs existing in the village have been making headlines. Being recently declared as a heritage village, one of its most magnanimous charms is the salt springs, which have been passed down from generation to generation. It is believed that these salt springs were in existence even before the village was founded by the ancestors, and hence the discovery of these springs made the foundation of the village even finer. Reportedly, there are more than 40 salt springs present, which is being looked after by the village council. Notably, the salt springs are not solely owned by the people of Sanpur village, but also of neighboring villages such as Tetuyo and Zongpong. It is believed that the salt water drawn from these springs have medicinal purposes and serve as remedies for sore throat, fever, flu, diarrhea, and many more. So far, there had been no technological intervention in the making of rock salt from these springs, and as such, only traditional means of rock salt formation is being practiced till date.
Five la, you know, 5 la, you take the amica, no, 6 la, Sukasana.
Zikina Muduya,
Miki Kamu, Ka Hero Cherima.
One unidentified male dead body, approximately aged around 50 to 60 years, was found lying near the entry gate of the railway station in Dimapur on Saturday. Notably, an inquest was conducted over the dead body, and on completion of all legal formalities, the dead body was shifted to District Hospital Dimapur morgue for post-mortem examination and identification. It is to be mentioned that the deceased was found wearing black long pant and rubber shoes. The Deputy Commissioner of Police Crime PRO stated that the claimant or relative of the deceased are requested to contact the officer in charge, GRPS Dimapur. A one-day training program on the implementation of tobacco-free educational institutions for teachers, police officers, district administration and district education officers was held on Friday at District Hospital, Peran. Notably, the program was organized by Peran District Tobacco Control Cell and was chaired by DNO and TCP Peran, Dr. Sabino Kutso. Furthermore, during the training program, Additional Director and NTCP SNO Dr. Tetso, while addressing the gathering, said that it is the responsibility of the teachers and officers to keep their school tobacco-free by engaging in the TOFI activities initiated by DTCC Peran. He also demonstrated the use of the TOFI application and urged the teachers' representatives to take enrollment seriously, as it is a very important means of striving toward tobacco-free institutions for the benefit of the students. Meanwhile, DTCC consultant NTCP Linoka Awomi briefed the participants on the topic Cigarettes and Other Tobacco Product Act COTPA 2003, its objectives and its enforcement mechanism. Furthermore, she also spoke on the mandatory display of signage in and around the premises of the educational institution. Wrestlers from Nagaland wins medals at International Sports Festival. Two wrestlers from Nagaland Wrestling Association (NWA), Kidovile Zumu and Nulomrai Hiwang, have won bronze medals at the International Sports Festival Pearl of Kyrgyzstan held at Cholpan, Atta, Kyrgyzstan. NWA informed that Hekwan participated in under 80 kg category and Zumu in 80 plus kg category, representing All India Traditional Wrestling and Pankration Federation at the International Sports Festival, which concluded on June 18, 2022. Meanwhile, NWA has congratulated Zumu and Hegwang on their achievement. Photography Club Dimapur on Saturday launched its official website www.pcd.org.in at Nagaland Coffee Shop in Dimapur. Notably, Advisor to Chief Minister Abu Mehta and Advisor Tafma Teja Miru graced the launching program as the special invitees. Furthermore, the Advisor to the Chief Minister Abu Mehta, while addressing the gathering, encouraged the photographers in the state to be the ambassadors of the land at a time when technology and social media have made it possible to take any content to any corner of the world within seconds. He also stated that he wants photography club, business, culture of photography and fraternity of photography in Nagaland to grow and prosper. Meanwhile, commenting about the club's plans for a photography festival, he stated that the event should develop into an asset for the state and become a piece of its intellectual property, helping to spur economic development and draw tourists to Nagaland. Furthermore, he assured that DAFMA will support the event and advised the group to consult Teja Miru and work with the government to organize it so that it becomes a success and draws visitors from all over the world to Nagaland. Notably, the club started in the year 2013 and comprises a total member of 40 at present. It is to be mentioned that the club inclines with the concept of organizing photography festival called the first Nagaland Photography Festival, which is scheduled to be held on August 19 and 20 in Dimapur.
This is in line with our concept of having a photography festival that is called the first Nagaland Photography Festival, which will be held on 19th and 20th of August. That falls on a Friday and Saturday. And this event has been conceptualized with the aim and objective to take Nagaland into the world photography map. This event is actually a path-breaking event, we can say, because it's the first of a kind in India. And through this, we hope to take our photographers, our community, and expose them to even greater things.
The 5-day East Zone Inter-Sainik School Sports and Cultural Meet that started from 14th June concluded on Saturday at Sainik School, Pungla in Nagaland. Notably, students of the Sainik schools in Purulia, West Bengal, Golpara in Assam, Imphal in Manipur, Pungla in Nagaland, Chihing Chip, Mizoram and Niklok in Arunachal Pradesh participated in the competitions. It is to be mentioned that the closing ceremony of the championship was graced by Lieutenant General P.C. Nair, Director General Assam Rifles as the chief guest. Furthermore, Nair, while addressing the gathering, apprised the participants of the initiative taken by the Assam Rifles for admission of local students to Sainik schools, while he exhorted the cadets to join the armed forces and complimented Pungla Sainik School Principal R.K. Yadav and the school's staff for conducting the events. It may be mentioned that several dignitaries, including serving defense officers, Deputy Commissioner Parent, LBM members, members of Parents Association, members of Old Boys Association of Sainik Schools, Nagaland chapter attended the ceremony.
Independence, we had no Sainik school. In fact, after independence also there was no Sainik school, nothing of this kind. Somewhere in the late 50s, a thought went around that the military, by which I mean all the three services, have to be represented by children of people across the country and should not be just restricted to the urban citizenry. That was how the thought of Sainik school came across. Along with that was also the thought of making public school easily available to children of the people who were from the lower strata of the society from the financial point of view. And that is how on 23rd June 1961, the first Sainik school started in Satara, Maharashtra. And as was mentioned earlier, I happen to be an alumni from that school. Like I just stated, the purpose was to bring forth children from the very rural areas, from very economically weak sections. And today when I look at the illustrious list of alumni who have been from various Sainik schools, it's a role of honor by itself.
As incessant rains trigger Assam and various areas are waterlogged, the Kanpur Metro District Administration in Assam on Sunday requested the schools in Guwahati and nearby areas to reschedule internal exams for all students. Notably, the Kanpur Metro District Administration in Assam has issued an advisory in this regard, whereby it stated that following waterlogging, power cuts and lack of adequate transportation in flood-affected areas of Guwahati over the past few days, educational institutions, both government and private, have been requested to reschedule their internal exams for all students if scheduled. The Bharatiya Janata Party on Sunday chaired its first Coordination Committee meeting in the national capital. Notably, the meeting was held to discuss about the upcoming presidential election that are scheduled to be held on July 18 this year. It is to be mentioned that BJP Chief J.P. Nadda chaired the meeting. Meanwhile, on behalf of the BJP, Nadda and Defence Minister and Deputy Leader of Lok Sabha, Rajnath Singh, have been given the responsibility to hold discussions with all political parties to make a consensus on the candidate for president. It is to be mentioned that in order to coordinate with its state units and allies, the BJP has formed a coordination committee of 14 members. Notably, the 16th presidential election will be held on July 18 and the counting of votes will be held on July 21. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday inaugurated the main tunnel and 5 underpasses of the Pragati Maidan Integrated Transit Corridor project in New Delhi. According to Prime Minister's office, the Integrated Transit Corridor project is an integral part of the Pragati Maidan redevelopment project. Notably, the Integrated Transit Corridor project has been built at a cost of more than rupees 920 crore, which has been entirely funded by the central government. The Prime Minister office further stated that it is aimed to provide hassle-free and smooth access to the new world-class exhibition and convention center being developed at Pragati Maidan, thereby facilitating easy participation of exhibitors and visitors in the programs being held at Pragati Maidan. It is also to be mentioned that the corridor will ensure hassle-free vehicular movement, helping save time and cost of commuters in a big way. It is part of the overarching vision of the government to ensure ease of living for people through transforming urban infrastructure.
fully modernized टनल है वो इस बात का ध्यान रखती है कि आपका ड्रेनेज सिस्टम बहुत बेहतरीन है.
Advocating the Swachh Bharat mission, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Sunday was seen picking up litter at the newly inaugurated Pragati Maidan Integrated Transit Corridor project tunnel in New Delhi. Notably, the Prime Minister was seen picking up discarded water bottle and other pieces of trash with his hand while he inspected the tunnel. The tunnel is open for the public from today. Meanwhile, Union Minister Piyush Goyal also shared the video on Twitter and said, even during inauguration of the ITPO tunnel, Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji made it a point to pick up garbage and ensure cleanliness. It is to be mentioned that Prime Minister Narendra Modi today dedicated to the nation the main tunnel and 5 underpasses of Pragati Maidan Integrated Transit Corridor project in New Delhi, which is aimed to provide hassle-free and smooth access to new world-class exhibition and convention center. Amid the rising demands for the scrapping of the newly launched Agnipath recruitment scheme for the military, a senior army officer on Sunday clarified that the program will not be rolled back and said that it is the only progressive step to make the country young. Amidst protests against the Agnipath scheme in various parts of the country, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has chaired a meeting on the Agnipath scheme at his residence today. It has been learned that the meeting focused on ensuring a quick rollout of the Agnipath scheme. The meeting has been attended by Tri-Services Chiefs, the Indian Army's Adjutant General Lieutenant General Bhansi Bonapha, the Navy's Chief of Personnel Vice Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, and the Air Force's personnel in charge, Air Marshal Suraj Jha, were present at the press conference. Meanwhile, this is the second such meeting called by Rajnath Singh in 2 days. The centre and armed forces are all set to begin the recruitment through the recently launched Agnipath scheme. Notably, Air Marshal Suraj Kumar Jha on Sunday announced that the registration process for the enrollment in the first batch of Agnivas will commence on June 24 and subsequently the online examination process will begin just a month after that. It is to be mentioned that Agnivas is the term used for the candidates who will be recruited to the defence forces via the new recruitment scheme. They will be given a special Agnivar certificate on completion of their 4-year service tenure. Several Congress MPs and leaders set on a satyagraha at Jantar Mantar on Sunday in solidarity with the youths protesting the centre's newly announced Agnipath scheme for recruitment in the armed forces. Notably, Congress leaders and supporters criticized the BJP-led central government and said that the Agnipath scheme is not beneficial for the country's youth and also jeopardizes national security. It may be mentioned that Congress General Secretary Priyanka Gandhi Vatra and party leaders Jairam Ramesh, Rajiv Shukla, Sachin Pilot, Salman Khurshid and Alka Lamba took part in the Satyagraha. It is to be mentioned that youths in several parts of the country have been protesting against the contentious defense recruitment scheme. Over the past few days, incidents of protesters vandalizing railway stations, setting trains on fire and blocking roads and railway tracks have been reported from different cities and towns.
साथ देगा अपने एक ऐसी स्कीम को दे दिया है जो इस देश के नवयुवकों को मार डालेगा। ऐसी स्कीम को जो इस देश की सेना जो हमारी देश की सुरक्षा करती है, जिनके सारे तमाम जो यहाँ पे भी आप खड़े हैं, आप सरहद पर जाकर सुरक्षा करते हैं, ऐसी स्कीम है जो इस सेना को खत्म कर देगा। आप इस सरकार को पहचानिए, इस सरकार की नीयत को पहचानिए मेरे भाइयों मेरी बहनों। लोकतांत्रिक तरह से शांतिपूर्वक अहिंसा सत्य के मार्ग पर चल के इस सरकार को खत्म कीजिए, इस सरकार को गिराइए। ये आपका मकसद होना चाहिए कि आपके देश में एक ऐसी सरकार बने जो सच्ची देशभक्ति दिखाए, जो देश की संपत्ति को सुरक्षित रखे, जो देश को आगे बढ़ाए, देश के गरीबों नौजवानों को आगे बढ़ाए। इसीलिए इस मंच पर खड़े हुए मैं आपसे आग्रह करती हूं कि जो भी आप प्रदर्शन करें आप शांतिपूर्वक करें, लेकिन आप रुके नहीं, आप थके नहीं। ये आपके अधिकार है, आपका देश है, इसको सुरक्षित रखने का कर्तव्य आपका है, इसके लोकतंत्र को सुरक्षित रखने का कर्तव्य आपका है। इस कर्तव्य को निभाने में कांग्रेस पार्टी का एक एक नेता, कांग्रेस पार्टी का एक एक कार्यकर्ता आपका साथ देगा। जय हिंद। अपने
Union Minister for Youth Affairs and Sports Anurag Thakur on Saturday said that Agnivaths will be considered for appointment as physical education teachers in schools after retirement from service. Special training will be given to Agnivaths who want to become physical education teachers after 4 years in army services. He further mentioned that they will be provided some crash courses and training. Meanwhile, 15 lakh physical education teachers posts are lying vacant in various states, hence the government is thinking in this direction, said Thakur. He also appealed to the youth not to indulge in violence as the government is seriously listening to their concerns.
आरक्षण देने की बात कही और उसमें भी एज को रिलैक्स करने का निर्णय लिया गया, ये भी युवाओं के हित में लिया गया। देश भर के कॉर्पोरेट जगत ने अग्निवीर को अपने यहाँ पर रोजगार देने के लिए डिपार्टमेंट है, वो भी इस बात पर विचार कर रहा है कि ये जब 4 वर्ष का अपना काम पूरा करके आएंगे और 4 वर्षों के बाद इनमें से ट्रेनिंग देकर जो लोग फिजिकल एजुकेशन टीचर बनना चाहते हैं उसमें हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या कुछ महीने का ऐसा कोर्स किया जा सकता है, क्रैश कोर्स करके, जिससे इनको भी लाभ मिल सके। और ऐसे देश भर में लगभग 15 लाख फिजिकल एजुकेशन के टीचर्स अलग अलग राज्यों में।
A Patna-Delhi SpiceJet flight was forced to land right after takeoff on Sunday as a fire was reported on the plane. The engine of the plane caught fire mid-air and was first noticed by the local people. In the light of the matter, the DGCA said that the plane was hit by a bird and as a result, one of the engine went out. But the Patna district magistrate said that it was due to a technical glitch and that the engineering team is analyzing the situation. Over 185 passengers were on board and there has been no reports of any injury. After a Delhi-bound SpiceJet aircraft met an emergency landing at Patna Airport following the report of a fire in one of the engines, SpiceJet Limited's Chief of Flight Operation Gurchandhan Arora informed that the pilots handled the situation well. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation will probe the matter, he said. Meanwhile, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation officials said that the plane VT-SYZ prima facie was involved in air turnback as the cabin crew informed PIC about sparks coming out of the engine. During the rotation, the cockpit crew suspected a bird hit on the engine. Later, the crew did not observe any abnormality and the flight resumed a further climb. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called on President Ramnath Kovind at Rashtrapati Bhavan on Sunday, while the details of the meeting are not yet known. Notably, President Ramnath Kovind's 5-year tenure is coming to an end on July 24. Notably, on July 15, the Election Commission issued a notification for the election of the 16th President of India and mentioned that the poll for the presidential election will be held on July 18 and that the counting will take place on July 21. The presidential election will be held by secret ballot in accordance with a system of proportional representation as per the Constitution. It is to be mentioned that the President is elected by an electoral college comprising elected members of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and state legislative assemblies, while it also includes the legislative assemblies of Delhi and Puducherry. It may also be mentioned that the total number of electors will be 4,809, including 776 members of parliament and 4,033 members of legislative assemblies. Following the attack on Karte Parwan Gurudwara in Kabul on Saturday, that it resulted in the death of 2 deaths, India has decided to grant e-visas to over 106 and Hindus in Afghanistan on priority. As per Ministry of Home Affairs sources, the decision was taken late Saturday night. Meanwhile, Islamic State Khorasan province on Sunday released a statement claiming responsibility for the attack. According to ISKP, Abu Muhammad al-Tajiki carried out the attack, which lasted for 3 hours. It further claimed that the attack was conducted as revenge for the insult of Prophet Muhammad by an Indian politician. Meanwhile, India has already taken strong action against those who made derogatory remarks. Former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah on Saturday declined to become the opposition's joint presidential nominee. Notably, during a meeting of opposition leaders on June 15, West Bengal Chief Minister and Trinamool Congress Chief Mamata Banerjee proposed Abdullah and Gopal Krishna Gandhi's names as possible consensus candidates for the July 18 presidential poll, upon which Abdullah expressed gratitude for the proposal. However, he opined that Jammu and Kashmir is passing through a critical juncture and that his efforts are required to help navigate uncertain times, and therefore he declined the proposal. Olympic champion Neeraj Chopra on Saturday bagged a gold medal at the 2022 Kutani Games in Finland. Neeraj is taking part in his second event since the Tokyo Olympics and is his first gold medal since winning the Olympic title, scoring 86.69 meters to clinch the top prize in weight and tricky conditions. Neeraj's second and third attempts were falls and he only made 3 throws, winning the competition with a single legal throw. Wrestlers from Nagaland wins medal at International Sports Festival. 2 wrestlers from Nagaland Wrestling Association, Kudovile Zumo and Nulamrai Hyuga, have won bronze medals at the International Sports Festival Prul of Kyrgyzstan, held at Cholpan Ata, Kyrgyzstan. NWA informed that Hyu Wang participated in under 80 kg category and Zumu in 80 plus kg category, representing All India Traditional Wrestling and Prangation Federation at the International Sports Festival. So viewers, that's all we have for now. Keep watching English Primetime News.
New YY Dynamite Instant Noodles.